A laser scanner, reportedly hidden inside a mobile phone. Point it at a spinning roulette wheel and a computer does the rest. Narrowing 37 pockets down to the handful the ball is most likely to fall into, while the wheel is still turning. In March 2004, 3 gamblers carried one into the casino at the Ritz in London. 2 nights later, they walked out with £1.3 million. They never rigged the wheel. They never bribed a dealer. They never touched the ball. The casino called the police. The 3 were arrested and investigated for 9 months, and then allowed to walk away and keep every penny. Because what they had done turned out to be no crime at all. To understand what they did, you have to understand the game they beat. Roulette is designed so the house always wins. A ball spins one way, a wheel spins the other, and where it lands is supposed to be pure chance. The casino's whole edge rests on one idea, that no one can predict the ball. Every green zero on the wheel tilts the odds a little further in the house's favor. Play long enough, and mathematics guarantees the casino takes your money. But unpredictable is not the same as random. The ball obeys physics, speed, friction, gravity. And the 3 gamblers who came to the Ritz had realized something the casinos had missed. If you could measure the ball fast enough, you didn't need luck. You needed a stopwatch. Their weapon was a technique called sector targeting. The idea is old. Physicists had toyed with beating roulette for decades, but the tools had finally caught up. Here is the trick. In roulette, you are allowed to keep betting for a moment after the ball is released, right up until the croupier calls, "No more bets." In that tiny window, a concealed laser scanner measured how fast the wheel and the ball were moving. A hidden computer did the maths in a heartbeat and predicted not the exact number, but the sector of the wheel the ball was most likely to fall into. It didn't have to be certain. It only had to shift the odds, enough to turn a losing game into a winning one. They would get a silent signal telling them where to place their chips, and then bet calmly seconds before the ball dropped. On the first night, they tested it. Quietly, without drawing attention, they walked out of the Ritz around £100,000 richer. The next night, they stopped being careful. The same 3 returned to the same wheel, and this time the winnings came in waves. Bet after bet landing in the sector the computer had called. By the end of the night, the tally had climbed past £1.2 million. In 2 evenings, 3 people had taken more than £1 million from a casino that had never lost like this. And as far as anyone watching could tell, they had simply been extraordinarily, impossibly lucky. But no one is that lucky. The size and the speed of the wins set off alarms. Staff pulled the tapes and watched the 3 play them back in slow motion. The timing of the bets, always late, always just before the ball dropped, always landing in the same rough arc of the wheel. It didn't look like luck. It looked like a system, so the Ritz did the one thing it could. It called the police. The 3 were arrested. Officers seized a mobile phone and a scanner, and the story that came out sounded like science fiction, a laser, a computer, a way to read the future of a spinning wheel. It seemed obvious they had cheated. And then the case ran into a wall no one expected. The wall was the law itself. Detectives spent months examining exactly what the 3 had done, and just as importantly, what they had not. They had not touched the wheel. They had not touched the ball. They had not tampered with a single piece of the casino's equipment, bribed a single member of staff, or altered the game in any way. All they had done was measure a ball that anyone in the room could see, and place bets the casino's own rules allowed them to place. Under the gambling law of the time, cheating meant interfering with the game, but they hadn't interfered with anything. They had simply outthought it. Predicting the ball with a device the law hadn't imagined, yet fell into a gap no one had ever tested. After roughly 9 months, the answer came back, and it stunned everyone who heard it. No crime had been committed. The 3 were released without charge, and allowed to keep all £1.3 million. The casino, which had watched more than £1 million walk out of its doors, had no way to get it back. They had lost fairly to people who had beaten the game at its own rules. It didn't stay legal for long. The loophole they had slipped through was one of the reasons Britain rewrote its gambling laws the very next year, making it an offence to use exactly this kind of device. The Ritz 3 were the last people who could beat a casino with a laser and simply walk away. The perfect crime that was never a crime at all. If you want to see how the next impossible robbery falls apart, subscribe to Masterplan, a new heist, escape, or con rebuilt in cinematic 3D every week.